The Twilight Zone is a shockingly good show to watch during the holidays. It's a really shocking and spooky show, but there is something about it that is so calming that it makes me want to bundle up in 10 billion blankets and binge watch every episode. Even though the Twilight Zone talks about some heavy topics like humanity's biggest fears, the dangers of technology, and racism, it can take a break from its serious and dark tone to dive into some festive stories from time to time. Today we're taking a look at The Night of the Meek, my favorite holiday story in the show, but not the only one. I think every single Christmassy episode in the series is incredible in its own way. And next year I'm even thinking about dedicating the whole month of December to the Twilight Zone because of it. But I wanted to give everyone a taste of that, so today I decided to talk about the holiday special that I think is even more important today than when it aired in the 1960s. The Night of the Meek is the 11th episode of the second season and was written by the man himself, Rod Serling, but directed by Jack Smite, who directed 3 other incredible episodes for the show: The Lonely, The Lateness of the Hour, and one of my personal favorites, 22. The episode aired just a few days before Christmas on December 23rd, 1960, and it's a beloved episode for the series, and it's easy to see why. It's a very sweet episode that reminds everyone about the true meaning of Christmas, but we'll get into that a little bit later. The episode was remade for the 1980s Twilight Zone that has its own Christmas special with 2 other segments attached to it, But Can She Type and The Star. Normally I would talk and break down both versions of the episode, but the 80s show was really faithful to the original adaptation, so I don't think I'll be breaking that one down in this video, but I will tell you a few differences at the end, so stick around for that. And one last thing before we hop into the video, you might notice that this episode looks very different from the other episodes. It's because they ran over budget making this season, so they videotaped this episode as well as 5 others and then converted it to 16mm film for the TV broadcast, which gave the episode this grainy live broadcast look that stuck around for the reruns and into streaming. It was just an experiment to see if they could cut costs for the show, but yeah, it didn't go so well. But personally, I think it gives this episode like a little charm. But let's quit yapping and get into the episode. We start this episode on Christmas Eve in a department store, and everyone is going crazy because Santa isn't there to listen to what their kids want for Christmas. Turns out that Santa is too busy getting sloshed at a nearby bar. This is Henry Corwin, an unemployed man who's spending the last of his money on a sandwich and a few more shots, while he's supposed to be a jolly fat guy in a chair a few doors down. He asked the bartender Bruno, or Bruce, I don't know, the IMDb says his name is Bruno, but then he says his name is Bruce. That seems to happen a lot in this episode. Anyways, Henry asked Bruce to tell him when it was 6:30 so that he could head back to the store, even though he was supposed to be in the chair at 6 o'clock. But anyways, it's his time to leave, and while he's paying for his meal, a couple of kids start banging on the windows of the bar to get Santa's attention. After giving the kids a quick wave, Henry is pretty saddened that Santa isn't real, because if he was real, the poor kids like the ones he just saw would be getting a good Christmas as well. Henry doesn't think that it's fair that they have to have a worse holiday for simply being born poor. But the bartender Bruce just thinks he's drunk and the Santa suit is starting to get to his head a little bit. But I don't know, Bruce. I think Henry's speaking some facts here, even if he is a bit twisted. Also, how do we know you're not drunk, Bruce? You misspelled Mary on the mirror back there. Either way, Henry is now absolutely hammered and it's time for him to clock into work. He stumbles out of the bar and into the street where he is approached by the 2 poor kids who beg Santa for multiple gifts.
I want a carriage and a dolly. Please, I want a gun.
A gun? We talking BB or like 9mm? There's quite a difference. Quickly, the requests become more depressing as the kids ask him for a turkey to eat on Christmas night and a job for their father so they won't be starving anymore. Henry is moved to tears by these 2, and as we sob, Rod makes his appearance where he introduces us to Henry and prepares us for the incredible story we're about to witness.
We'll enter a strange kind of North Pole, which is one part the wondrous spirit of Christmas and one part the magic that can only be found in the Twilight Zone.
Next, we cut back to the department store, and Henry finally started his shift an hour late. He's yanked to the side by his boss, Mr. Dundee, who rightfully chews his ear off about being late and also being filthy and drunk. And I mean, he's not wrong. It kind of seems like he hasn't washed that suit since the first day of Hanukkah. Drunk Santa stumbles his way to the chair and doesn't even make it past the first kid before slipping out of the chair into the floor.
Look, Mom, Santa Claus is loaded.
He's a little more than loaded, it seems. The parent is understandably furious about this, and she tells Mr. Dundee to his face that she will never shop at his store ever again. This gets Henry fired and insulted right to his face. He tries to ignore Dundee's insults while tripping his way to the exit, but he can't stand to hear his annoying yapping for too long. He turns around and apologizes to Dundee for his drinking problem, and he admits that he knows he has a problem. He abuses alcohol to drown out all of his other emotions because drinking is more subtle than weeping walking in the streets. And he defends himself by saying he wasn't rude to that woman. I mean, you were kind of rude to that woman, man. You slumped over while her kid was talking to you. That's not exactly nice. He does say that people like her have lost the true meaning of Christmas. It's not about stressing and shopping all day long and shoving people out of the way to get the perfect gift for your nana. Christmas is about love, compassion, charity, just being kind to one another for just 1 month every year. Dundee doesn't care to listen to Henry's sob story and just wants him out of the store. But if you've ever talked to a drunk person, you know that they'll keep talking until they get their point across. He tells Dundee that he feels worthless. He's disgusting. He's renting a dirty house on a dirty street with shady people and hungry children. He lives in a sad place. A place so sad that no one is happy even on Christmas.
Well, the only thing that comes down the chimney on Christmas Eve is more poverty.
His impassioned speech is kind of scaring the kids a little bit, but he ends off his drunken rant by saying he drinks so that he can believe that he is in the North Pole while walking through the tenements, and that he can believe that he is Santa for just a moment. And he wishes that for just one Christmas, he gets to see all the sad, lonely people believe in the spirit of Christmas once again.
Just on one Christmas, I'd like to see the meek inherit the earth.
And with him finally getting all of that off of his chest, Henry stumbles out of the store. Then we watch as he drunkenly walks the streets dressed as Santa, and as he does so, he hears sleigh bells ringing overhead. But he can't find the source of the bells, so he aimlessly walks into this alleyway where he finds a massive garbage bag. Or rather, this cat makes the bag fall in front of him. At first, he just ignores it because it's nothing but, well, trash. But as he walks by, the sleigh bells start jingling again, but this time louder. Henry turns to find that the trash on the ground has somehow turned into Christmas presents. And without a second thought, Henry scoops up the sack and starts carrying it as if he were Santa, shouting Merry Christmas in the streets for everyone to hear. Next, we cut to a mission house where there are a bunch of people down on their luck singing Christmas carols. Their not so beautiful singing is interrupted by a man who tells everyone that Santa Claus is coming to give everyone gifts. He watched him give presents to other people and they got whatever they asked for. It was almost like he was magical. And it doesn't take long for Henry to burst through the door shouting Merry Christmas with his huge bag. He asks the men what they want for Christmas and immediately he finds and gives them everything they want. Sister Florence personally knows Henry and she knows that there is no way he could afford all of these gifts and demands he tell her where he got them from. He tells her that he can't explain it because he also doesn't know where they're coming from. All he knows is he found a magical Santa sack.
And as long as it's putting out, I'm putting in.
He even tries to give Sister Florence a gift, but she walks out to get the police because she believes that he stole all of these goods. But as she grabs the officer, Henry has a real Santa Claus moment and he soul reads this poor man to give him a gift, which was simply a cane. In this moment, it really shows that people who are down on their luck don't really want much. Most just want the essentials. One man simply asked for a sweater to stay warm, the old man asked for his cane, and as things get a bit crazier, you'll hear very mundane things coming from them like a new pair of socks. When Sister Florence gets back with the officer, he asks Henry if he's drunk. And well, of course he's drunk.
Intoxicated with the magic and wonder that is Christmas Eve.
Well, that, and there's probably still some liquor in there somewhere. The officer asks Henry for a receipt for all the gifts, but Henry doesn't have a receipt. The bag just magically gives him the gifts. Of course, this all sounds too fantastical, so the officer asks the sister to collect the gifts and put them in a pile by the door, so they can try and figure out where he got all this merchandise from. And Henry willingly walks with the cop back to the station and tells him everything that has happened to him so far, even if the cop doesn't believe it. And it doesn't take long for Mr. Dundee to come to the station and claim that Henry stole everything from his department store. Though it seems more like Dundee would rather see Henry behind bars after ruining his Christmas Eve at the store. The cop admits that things don't look too good for Henry because there is no way he would be able to get this much merchandise unless he stole it. But Henry defends himself and says that there is a big misunderstanding here, because he doesn't know how the bag works either. But Dundee doesn't want to hear it. He's just certain that Henry stole thousands of dollars from the store. And as he's unloading the bag, there's nothing but trash. And a cat. The officer can't believe his eyes. He saw Henry giving gifts to people. Anything the person asked for, they got. But now there's nothing but garbage in the bag? It doesn't make sense. And Henry proudly admits to giving out gifts from the bag. And he tells them that it wasn't him that stole anything. They just have a magical bag. And since they can't prove Henry stole anything, they have to let him go, much to Mr. Dundee's disappointment. The cop even admits that they're dealing with something supernatural. There's nothing he can do. So to test this magic bag, Mr. Dundee facetiously asks for a bottle of very expensive cherry brandy from 1903. And Henry gives him exactly what he asked for, and quickly heads out to give more gifts to those in need. We watch as Henry gives a whole group of kids everything they ask for and empties his bag of gifts. And finally, after a long night of gift giving, he he rests on the stairs of a building when his friend from the mission house, Bert, comes out to chat with him. Bert notices that Henry didn't get anything for Christmas himself, and that little remark makes Henry realize that he really doesn't want anything physical. He just wanted to give gifts and make people happy, and he got exactly that. He does wish that he could do this every year, be the biggest gift giver of them all. Basically, he wishes he could be Santa Claus. But that's just too far-fetched and will never happen, and they say their Merry Christmases and head their own way. Henry once again walks aimlessly through the snow, upset that it's over, but happy nonetheless. He walks down the same alley that he did before, but this time, a sleigh is waiting for him with real reindeer attached to it. Suddenly, an elf appears from behind the trash cans and tells Henry that they've been waiting for him, and she calls him Santa Claus. She eagerly hops in the sleigh ready to leave, but Henry can't believe his eyes. He touches the elf to make sure that she's real because who knows, maybe the alcohol's giving him hallucinations. It can happen. But she is very real, and she tries to get him to hurry up because they have a whole year of work to get ready for next Christmas. And finally, Henry just stops asking questions and he hops in the sleigh with the elf. And then we cut to Mr. Dundee and the officer as they walk out of the station. They can't believe their eyes as they watch Henry fly away with a sleigh of reindeer. So it looks like Henry's wish came true after all, and he is now Santa Claus, the biggest gift giver of them all. The episode ends with Rod Serling giving a message to all the young people. He says that there is a wondrous magic to Christmas, and there is a special power reserved for the little people. There's nothing mightier than the meek.
And a Merry Christmas to each and all.
And that's the end of the episode. What an incredible story that's even more important today than ever. I absolutely adore this episode. It does what the Twilight Zone does best. It makes you think. I would be lying if I said it didn't make me walk around the house thinking about what I could do better this year. They just did an amazing job with this episode. It lays out the issues with the holiday in a very simple way to fix it. Art Carney did an incredible job as Henry. He does a great job with his Christmas monologue, and he is so passionate about what he's saying, it is honestly pretty moving. Not to mention what he's saying is very true. It just really sucks that he's blown off most of the episode because he's a drunk. It's also so kind that he decided to take the sack of gifts and give every single one away, literally until the bag was empty. He could have easily taken the bag for himself and sold all the stuff and made a bunch of money, but in the true spirit of the holiday, he happily gave it all away. Which brings me to the first lesson in this episode. Redemption. At the start of the episode, Henry is a sad man. Nobody fully trusts him, nobody really likes him. He drinks all the time and has no respect for his job or the people around him. But he does have a kind heart. He wants to do what's best, he just has a hard time doing it. And when he's faced with something that he could have taken advantage of, he decided to do the right thing and help those in need, turning him from a very sad man to a very honorable one. One as honorable as Santa Claus, which is probably the most honorable man ever. All it takes is just one person to do the right thing and it'll change lives forever. And I personally am really glad this episode had a good ending. I was afraid there was going to be a crazy twist where Henry actually died or something, but I'll take him being Santa over that any day. That's a way better ending. Also, I want to say that if I took my child to meet Santa Claus and he looked like that, we're going home. There is no way. I know he's a nice guy, but come on, he's filthy. You can't tell me you wouldn't leave. And I know I didn't break down the remake of the episode, but that version is actually just as good as this one. I actually like the ending of that version a little bit more because you watch Henry turn into Santa Claus and he flies up the chimney. Like a classic Christmassy ending. It also shows Henry helping more than just elderly people and kids like the old episode. There's like a house party going on and he's helping teenagers. He's helping everybody who needs it. And Mr. Dundee is more of an antagonist in that episode, which is very obviously a jab at corporate America for ruining the holiday. So if you can find that episode, I highly recommend you check that version out too. Actually, check out all of the Christmas episodes of the Twilight Zone. They're all amazing, I promise. Even though this episode is more in your face about the lesson than most Twilight Zone episodes, I think it does an amazing job at showing you what people really go through this time of year. Especially nowadays, it seems like Christmas is losing its spark. Henry was right, even if he was drunkenly ranting. Before Amazon, TikTok shops, and Coca-Cola, Christmas was a time to be loving and compassionate to others, to give to those who you love and who needed it the most. It was a time to spend with family and friends and spread happiness and joy. But now more than ever, people and companies are greedy and they take this holiday for granted. They only see this holiday and this time of year as a time to profit over your hard work. It's sad seeing people who can't afford gifts for their kids, and it's sad seeing people go hungry on Christmas Day, the day that's supposed to be the happiest day of the year. It's sad that there are children asking Santa Claus to give their dad a job so they can live a normal life. This was made in the 60s and it is still extremely relevant today, maybe even more so. If only there were a magical sack someone could find to come save the day, then all of our problems would be saved. But sadly, that won't happen. Unless we're in the Twilight Zone. And naturally, as you get older, the Christmas spark slowly goes away. It no longer feels magical. You're constantly stressing over buying gifts for everyone and hoping that everyone loves them, while having to pay your bills and make sure you have enough money for food to feed yourself. All while these companies are shoving their products down your throat, trying to milk you for all the money you have. And not only that, if you're working retail or delivery this time of year, your job is even wearing down on you heavily. My mother is a postal worker. I've seen what it does to her. Or even if you're like me and you moved away from your hometown, the holiday can start to feel pretty lonely because you don't have your family or friends around to hang out with. But it doesn't have to be that way. We should stop seeing this holiday as something stressful and overrun by corporate greed and start seeing it as a time to give back to others. Go do an angel tree. Take time to go out and help a family that needs it. Most of the time, they really don't want much. You don't even have to go spend money. Go spend time with your grandma who you haven't seen in a while. Maybe go take her out to eat. Well, taking her out to eat is spending money. Maybe go cook her dinner. Call your mom and just talk to her for a little while. She probably misses you. Go volunteer at a soup kitchen. This Christmas, be like Henry and do something to give back. Be compassionate to others. It'll make you feel better and maybe even bring back that Christmas spark that has been missing for a while. Like Rod Serling said,
There's a wondrous magic to Christmas, and there's a special power reserved for little people. In short, there's nothing mightier than the meek.
And that's all I've got for you today. I hope everyone enjoyed my little Christmas rant, and I hope you have a very Merry Christmas and a Happy Holidays. Now I'm going to do something that makes me sound like a hypocrite. I have a Patreon. The $5 members get bonus content plus videos a day early, maybe some pictures of my cats, a Discord server, and your name right here on screen. Like the video if you like the video. Thank you for watching the video all the way through. I appreciate you all, and peace.